What's up, guys? Dustin McDangles back here with another video, and welcome back to the franchise mode series here with the Nebraska Bucks, guys. We're here in episode 3, and if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future NHL content, whether that be franchise mode, be a pro, hockey ultimate team, or shootout challenge, guys. If you like anything NHL related, be sure to subscribe. And as of today, guys, this is our created team here, Nebraska Bucks. So far, we are looking pretty good, and sort of based off the comments in the last episode, we were was sort of advised here to sort of put Kashe up here, obviously to get him in a top 6 forward role, since he does have that top 6 forward medium potential. Definitely don't want to have him on the 4th line, even though that took a plus away from the first or the second line here. Definitely worth doing, even though we did lose that +1. But without further ado, guys, we're going to sort of hop in here to this season, see how things go. Obviously, hoping things are going well, as we did win our first game of our sort of career here with the squad. So we're going to go month by month here, simming through, seeing how the team does. Obviously, we're looking for a decent season, obviously starting off strong there with a victory against the Islanders. Not too shabby there. A shootout loss to the Kings. Trade there, third and a... for Brosset. We don't really need another goaltender, so we'll pass on that trade here. Right now, the boys are really buzzing. 3-1-1 right now. Andrew Shaw injured, so we're going to have to sort of swap around some things here on our third line. Hopefully, Shaw is not out for a while. We'll throw Sam Bennett into the lineup, and as of now, Sam Bennett doesn't really get any pluses or minuses, so we'll have to leave it for that for a while here. We have 2 losses in a row here to Eastern Conference opponents. Make that 3 in a row. Will it be 4? It is 4-game skid here. Can we end the month off with a win? And we do. So we are 4-4-1 here. Here in this month of sort of October, first month as a franchise in the NHL. Not too shabby. Obviously, we will simulate up here to this final game of the next month, which is going to be November. Starting off strong there with a win against the Blues and the Flyers, and Shaw back ready to go in the lineup here, so we'll throw him back in, taking out Bennett. I actually want to take a look at how Bennett did for the games he did play, where is it? 6 games, 2 assists, -1. Not the best sort of out of him, but again, not terrible. Again, Andrew Shaw, get him into the lineup. Gets that +1. He is still technically injured, so we'll keep Bennett in there for now, and roll with that for a few games here before we actually go ahead and substitute that out. Pesce is going to be injured, which kind of sucks. So let's check Shaw again. We should be able to move Shaw into the lineup without sort of being injured. He still is technically injured. We'll just leave him in there for now. Obviously losing that one defenseman here. Pesce kind of sucks. We're actually going to have to call up a defenseman. That's quite interesting. So what we're going to have to do here for now is we're going to have to throw in a scratched player and cancel this simulation right now. We get one shootout loss there to the Blue Jackets. Unfortunate, but let's take a look here about possibly calling up a player, maybe even signing a free agent. I wonder how much sort of cap space we have left. We do have $6 million worth of cap, and there are still big-time free agents out there right now, which Dermott wouldn't be a bad shout. He does only fit defensive pairing 3. Is he restricted? He is a restricted free agent, so that's sort of why I'm assuming he hasn't really gone. Let's take a look here at left defenseman out there on the market. Man, there's nothing really too great available. Let's sort of just sort by overall. Del Zotto. That's quite interesting. Not a lot of good sort of defensive players there. Let's actually take a look at our AHL squad and possibly bringing up somebody. Man, our AHL team is absolutely buzzing. 10-2-1. The Burnaby Ace is actually really buzzing, which is nice to see. Take a look here at our defense and see. We could bring Bowie up. I don't know if I want to, though. I'd rather have him sort of continue on here in the AHL, develop a little bit here. He is depth defenseman, top 4 potential medium. I'd rather him keep developing here. Plus, he is only one way. So let's go ahead and try and sign here a defenseman. And sort of see what we can try and snipe off the free agent market. Obviously, sort of one of these restricteds would be awesome. I mean, Sergachev, that would be an absolute steal, but most likely not going to be able to snipe him. Dermott, he's going to want $4 million for 6 years. I mean, at 23 years of age, I'd be willing to give 4.2. We don't have enough compensation, which kind of sucks, so we can't even sign him. Again, that is a little bit of a bummer. Justin Williams still available. Doesn't fit any of our lines. It's kind of nice here to actually take a look and see who is available. Bobby Ryan available. Don't really know too much about Bobby Ryan. Can we potentially scout him? That is the real question, and it doesn't look like we can. So, Nemastikov still a free agent as well. Only fits forward line 1, which kind of sucks. Patrick Maroon, could we possibly bring him in? He could fit bottom. That actually might be a really nice play there for Patrick Maroon, bringing in some sort of grit for that 4th line. And that honestly might be a nice little move here. I don't know. We're going to try for it. 1 year. I feel like that would be a nice deal if we can get him for like 1.25. See what he says to that. Obviously, that would be a really nice shout. We need a defenseman now, which Nathan Bellevue here. Defensive pairing 3, all penalty killing lines. He does fit, so that would be nice. Obviously, we would have to try and work some things around here, which, I mean, he doesn't want a lot of money for 1 year, so I'd be more than willing to give him what he is asking, and see if we can obviously get him in. We're going to have to roll a game here with somebody, unless they sign here. We're going to have to roll a game here with a forward at defense. Obviously, we have a AHL sort of injury there, and we actually picked up a loss. We're going to have to roll another game here with a defenseman. Oh, Pesci's back. That's actually really nice. Let's put Pesci back in. Obviously, we want to try and get him back into the lineup because we don't want a forward playing defense right now. Sammy Blais, not what we want at all. So let's get Pesci back into the lineup here. Thankfully, he still technically is saying injured, but again, not too sort of worried about that. Best lines there for AHL. Bellevue signs and Maroon signs, so those are really nice right there. Let's actually bring up Maroon. I feel like that would be really nice to actually bring him into the lineup. We also have Nieto, who we could also try and bring up as well eventually. But let's bring up Maroon here. Obviously try and throw him into the lineup here. See what he can do on that 4th line and see if he can replace Raffle here. We also have Sammy Blais, who we could try and throw into the lineup. Maroon in the lineup does give that +1 on the 4th line, which is nice to see. Sorensen, could we maybe swap him out with maybe Blais? Could that possibly do something there? And I'd like to see what Sammy Blais can do. Obviously, he doesn't really fit that 4th line as well. Really fits that 2nd line, which, I mean, that could be nice. Obviously, I don't want to sort of put Volchenkov down, as Volchenkov been playing pretty well. 15 games, 4 goals, 6 assists. Not too bad. How's that 1st line doing? 10 points in 15 games. Ryan Strome playing really well as Hoffman. So that 1st line obviously is playing really well. How is Kase doing? He's actually performing really well. 12 points in 15 games. Sorelli also playing pretty well for 15 games played. So we'll try that new 4th line look here with Blais and Maroon to see how that goes. Obviously, we're looking for some good things to sort of come here. Obviously, the AHL We'll also sort of hopefully we could put things together in the AHL, and hopefully things do go better for us down there. Obviously, our defense is really stacked with some great players. That top line now, +3 Bavillier and Bowie, which is really nice. So we'll continue on here with the simulation of the NHL. We'll keep an eye out on that AHL squad, see how they do, but obviously things sort of back to normal. Hopefully no injuries here moving forward. At least in this month, we could go without a full month of injuries. That would be really nice to see. Draft class a bit weaker than normal, which is quite interesting to see. We have 6 losses, 7 losses in a row here. This is not a good month. Ronta is going to be injured as well, so that is not good at all. Top goaltender is out for the count, and we're going to have to call up Sparksy here, guys. Call up Sparks, edit the lines, and hope that we're really going to have to hope that sort of Saros can carry the squad. He is an 84 right now, which isn't too bad, so we'll make him the starting goaltender. Obviously, Sparks up to an 80, which is really nice to see. Best lines there for the AHL. Continue on here with our sim. We finally pick up a win here against the Blackhawks. We end up losing to the Penguins. Hoping for a Ronta's back, so that is nice. Go to roster moves. We'll move back down Sparks, who obviously didn't really need to sort of have him up for too long, which I didn't mean to do best lines. That might have been a mistake. That might have sort of just messed everything up here at the NHL with our lines by pressing that, and I believe it did with our lines, and it did. So that is very unfortunate. So we're gonna have to swap that around here. Obviously, fix that back up. Man, Rust isn't even in the lineup anymore. What is going on with that? We need Brian Rust in the lineup, unless we could possibly sort of trade him for something here in the future. Obviously, sort of this is back to normal there with our starting forwards. Obviously, we want... Honestly, let's roll with that. See if this new updated defense does a little bit better here. And then the special teams, obviously, 4-man power play. That is absolutely brutal. Man, that is really bad there for that 4-man power play. Let's take a look here at the regular power play. Ferlin, don't really want him on that. I want to try and get Volchenkov. That gets that up to a +3. We don't have any defense there on that power play, but we'll leave it like that for now. +3 on that power play, really nice. How's the penalty kill look? Still that +5 on the second PK, and then our 3-man PK is okay. So, okay there with those changes. Obviously, you had to fix that a little bit there, but let's continue on here in this month. Obviously, 8-11-2, not great. 2-7-1 in our last 10, which is kind of bad for at least a month in the NHL, but we'll simulate up here. Hopefully we can win a couple more games here. Matt Roy's been injured, so that is quite interesting. We're going to have to edit those lines again here. Man, we're going to have to call up a defenseman here, because we do not have any other defensemen. We're going to have to send somebody down. We're going to have to send down somebody here. We're going to have to fill in this sort of section here with somebody. Sammy Blaze. Oh, I forgot to put him back into the lineup. Let's stop this simulation. We lose 8-5, which is kind of crazy. Big trade here. Brandon Saad. Don't really want him with that contract. So, again, we're going to have to shuffle around sort of the rosters here, which is obviously not what we really want to do, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We'll bring up Bavillier here. He is only on a one-way deal, which kind of sucks, but we're going to have to do it. We're going to go to edit lines here, obviously throw him into the lineup for Sammy Blaze. Obviously, we don't want that -3. Bavillier into the lineup here. He does get the +1, which is nice. Does he get anything else? No. We'll we'll keep him on that final line there. Obviously, sort of the AHL, we'll throw Subban into the lineup, which is I'm perfectly fine with. And then we will do best lines there for AHL. NHL, taking a look back at it, I do want to put Sammy Blais back into the lineup there for Sorensen. Although Sorensen, 81, let's roll with Sorensen on that fourth line right now. Although he is 28, Sammy Blais, obviously he will fit the line. But Sammy Blais is a little bit younger, obviously 24. I'd rather have him grow a little bit more. Obviously top 6'4", medium potential there. When I try and get him buzzing, can he even work on any of these other lines? He could up there on the second line, but I don't want 279 players on that. I'd rather have Kashe up there to develop, since again he is only 25. So again, injuries and things of that nature really sort of throwing the squad for a little loop here in this month of November. Rod has been injured. That's AHL. Don't have to worry about that. We lose in a shootout to the Capitals, and then to finish out the month, we're going to have to go to roster moves once again here, and send down a defenseman or a forward. I feel like we should definitely try and send down Raffle. I mean, I'm okay with that. We'll send him down. Another trade offer for Manson. Don't want that to go through. Again, final game of the month against the Maple Leafs. And can we get a victory? We do win our last game of the month. So last 10, 3-6-1. We're 9-12-3 overall. Man, Strom's been playing really well. I do kind of want to take a look at Brian Rust and sort of see how he is doing. I feel like he might be obviously underachieving there on that third line. Again, yeah, that is quite down. 3 goals, 7 assists in 24 games played. He is minus 7, that looked like, so, or minus 6. He doesn't even work better on that first line, and I don't want to move Hoffman down, so I feel like we should try and look for something here for Brian Rust and maybe get him out of here, and possibly sort of bring in somebody maybe a little bit younger and with a little bit more potential, which sort of we're going to go ahead and take a look at that and see if there is anybody out there worth trading for. So here we have a trade here, guys. Brian Rust to the Montreal Canadiens for Joel Armia. I know the age difference isn't really there. Obviously, Armia is going to be a little bit lesser in the overall. He does fit bottom 6 forward lines, and we would be trying to get a second round pick out of it with 2 fourths and Brian Rust. We're going to see if this trade does go through, and it was rejected, so we might need to bump this trade possibly up to maybe a third rounder from next year's draft. See if this goes through, and we do get the second round pick. So obviously losing Brian Rust, wasn't really doing much on that sort of third line, and really don't want to be wasting sort of that salary. Obviously we get a second round pick out of it as well, which we might even be able to sort of pull up to a first round pick with 2 first round picks, and then we also get that up to a +1 there on the third line. So Joel Armia into the lineup here. He is on a 1-year deal, so that is sort of a bummer, but we did pull up a draft pick out of it, which again is going to be huge here, especially if this first season doesn't go as sort of according to plan, as sort of it looks like it's not really going so hot for the boys. But let's go ahead, simulate here through the month of December, see how we do. Obviously with the new sort of lineup, Jordan Subban has been injured. We'll just have the coach take care of that. As Burnaby Aces player, all ready to go. Don't have to worry about that. We start the month off there. Oh man, Josh Manson has been injured. That kind of sucks. But again, we do have sort of somewhat some depth, I guess you can say, since we do have Roy, who we can throw in there. Obviously don't want him on that top pair. Put Larson up there on the top pair. Gets Roy on the second pair there at the +3, so that is perfectly fine. We get another win, 2 wins there for our California trip so far. as we are continuing on here. Manson back to come back into the lineup, so we will throw him back in, and so far so good. The start of this month, obviously it is a little early, but so far things are going really well for the squad here. We'll move Manson back up to that top pair with Pesce. Is Pesce a defensive defenseman as well? So we have two. That's why I don't really want that. Man, we have so many defensive defensemen right now, and that's why I wanted Colin Miller on that top pair. We might honestly need to trade one of our defensemen here, either maybe Pesce or Edmondson for maybe like an offensive defenseman, to try and get something going here, which we might consider here. I mean, as of things are going right now, we had a 3-game winning streak right there, which was just broken. Zykov has been injured, obviously AHL player, don't have to worry about that. We'll have the coach take care of that. Larson has been injured, and he's not going to be back until February 28th. So maybe Larson might be the player we could possibly trade here moving forward, which, I mean, that might be the move here. Obviously, he is one of our top defensemen. Could trade him. Obviously, Roy gets that +3 on that second pair, but actually, I do want to try and see if we can find something for Larson. So we lose to the Rangers. We're 13-13-4, so we are pulling it back a little bit here. Want to definitely take a look here where we stand in the division. I'm not too sure sort of exactly where it stands right now, but just looking at the Central, we are in second to last. We are just 6 points out of a playoff position, so just over the horizon we can see the playoffs. But let's go ahead, take a look here what we can find for Larson for like an offensive defenseman, and sort of see if we can get that trade to work. So here we have a trade offer here for Tony DeAngelo of the New York Rangers, obviously offensive defenseman, 3 years on his contract as well for Larson and Vellotti. See if this trade does go through. It is rejected, so we might try and throw in a pick here as well to try and get this trade to go through. Obviously, this would be a very nice trade to try and pull off. And I feel like a sort of a future 5th-round pick might be able to bring that trade balance in our direction, and we are able to go ahead and get Larson out for finally an offensive defenseman, which DeAngelo does fit, I believe, the top four forward lines or defensive lines, which is really nice. So we will throw him in there for... oh man, he gets +5 on that second pairing, which, oh my goodness, +5 on that top pairing with Manson there, so that gets them up really high. Honestly, that might be the trade of the season. DeAngelo to the first line, that is really nice to see, +5 with Manson, so we will definitely try and keep that rolling as best we can here moving forward into the rest of this simulation. Obviously 3 years on DeAngelo's deal, so definitely we'll try and utilize that for sure. 83 overall right now. I'm pretty sure he has 26 or 27 years of age, so definitely sort of in his sort of mid-prime right now, which is okay. Tyler Johnson, obviously don't want to get rid of Manson. With that top D pair, we are able to beat the Vegas Golden Knights 4-3 in OT. Best lines there for the AHL, obviously, that will be taken care of, and we're starting to put it together here, guys. Finally back over 500. Don't want to pick up that guy off waivers. Perfectly fine not picking him up coming off the Christmas break here with a victory against the Avalanche, a loss to the Hurricanes, and then a loss to the Montreal Canadiens. So we still are above 500, just a few points out of playoff contention here, guys, as we are getting closer here to the end of this first season. Are we going to be able to try and crack the playoffs is the real question. So far, I mean, it's going to be definitely cutting it close. We are a few points out of that playoff position. Manson, again, lots of trades coming in for him. Obviously, don't want to give him up, but Matt Nieto's been injured. Obviously, that's AHL. Don't have to worry about that. Edmondson has been injured, so we will have to take care of that. Second line defenseman out for the count here for a little bit. So we will definitely throw in Roy into that second line, which we know is going to get sort of some pluses there. I kind of want to put Pesce up there with Colin Miller. We get the +3 with those two bottom guys, so we honestly might roll with that here for a while. See how that does. But again, that +5 on the top pairing is definitely really nice to see. I also do kind of want to take a look here at our power play. And we'll just do best lines there for the AHL. Back to edit lines. And what is going on? Who is injured? Man, Sam Bennett has really dropped in overall. And I'm wondering where... I was going to say, where's Andrew Shaw? We got to throw him back in... Wait a minute. Shaw's already in there. Who are we missing? I'm so confused. Who's been injured? Sorensen's really dropped in overall since he hasn't been playing. And the guys that have been playing have been sort of been bumped up a little bit here. Where... The question is, where was our second line centerman, which is supposed to be Cirelli. Where is Cirelli? Oh, Cirelli's injured. I was just about to say, where the heck is Anthony Cirelli? That is quite interesting. So we're going to have to throw Bennett into the lineup, which unfortunately is going to sort of take a hit here for our overall. So we're going to have to move him down the lineup, move a couple guys up. Why? This is so confusing right now. We need to get Shaw into the lineup. I don't understand why. Why is that? We're going to have to go best lines, and we're going to have to figure it out that way and sort of get this reset, because that was really weird. I don't know what was going on there. So move Shaw up to our second line, obviously get Volchenkov back up there. Ferland was on that line. And then we had Koshe up on our second, which is nice. Who are we missing? Sammy Blaze up on the second line is really nice. Sammy Blaze only plays wing, so obviously we'll just have to sort of fix this around here. Obviously, I don't know why. Sort of things were getting messed up there. Cirelli's been injured. He's going to be back here very soon, which is really nice. So don't have to worry with him out of the lineup for too long. Obviously, want to get Maroon back into the lineup here to get that +1 on our bottom pairing. And then sort of that makes everything sort of look pretty good. Obviously, we want D'Angelo back on that top pair. Pesci, Miller. Miller's back into the lineup, which is nice, so we will roll with that. Obviously, take a look here at special teams. Look at the power play, and we want to get Volchenkov back up to that top pair. And since what's-his-face is out for a little bit here, we will move Koshe up there as well. And that gets +3 on the first power play, so we will roll with that for now until Cirelli is back. So Edmondson back into the lineup. Obviously don't have to put him back in. He's already been put in there, so we'll continue on here with this sim. Nieto is back. We'll edit the best lines there. And we're still 500 Shaw for a trade offer there. We were going to reject. We get a victory there against the Blue Jackets, and we're still hanging on here with a chance to possibly squeak into the playoffs. 2 losses in a row there, which kind of sucks. Definitely puts a little damper on things. Seabrook on waivers. That's crazy to see. Cirelli back into the lineup, which will be nice to see him get back in. So we will throw him in back into the lineup. Cirelli back in there. Comfort there on the fourth line. Shaw back on the third. And then that sort of gets things back to normal here for our lineup. Obviously, we will want to try and get him on that power play as well. We'll throw Cirelli in here. Changing the current line. Throw him to center. I mean, that doesn't get any pluses for that power play, but we will leave it at that. He's back into the lineup. We lose to the Red Wings, and we lose to the Panthers. So 4 losses in a row here. We're starting to slide a little bit out of the playoff picture with another loss here. So we might want to... Oh, man, Saros with a torn groin. He's going to be out until April. So we're going to have to bring up Sparksy from the AHL to stick with the boys here the rest of the way pretty much for this season. He's back down to a 79. So we'll bring him up, edit our lines here. And again, have to give Sparksy a little look here as we continue on. Ranta up to an 85, which is nice to see. Obviously, leave him in there as our starting goaltender. Best lines for the AHL, and then continue on with our simulation. We finally win a game there in that month of January, which was not a good one. Man, we lost a lot of games there in a row. We lost 5 games in a row, guys, which might put us out of a playoff little hunt. So we'll simulate all the way up here to the trade deadline, see where we stand, and honestly from there we might decide whether or not we will be sellers at the trade deadline or buyers. Right now, I mean, it is not looking good. With the record, we're pretty much at the bottom of our division here. Man, 49 points. We are just, Cam Atkinson now injured, which he's out until March, which that really sucks. We'll give Volchenkov here a go on the top line, and we're going to have to fill this in here with Sorensen. Sorensen's going to have to step up and sort of play a little bit bigger than his overall suggests. We'll move Sammy Blaze up to that top line, so at least we have sort of a best sort of situation there with +4s all or +1s all around, which is going to have to do here as sort of we try and figure out our lineup here. I don't want D'Angelo. We'll go with Pesci on that. Man, Pesci doesn't really work on that power play either. So, man, it's really tough trying to find somebody to go on this power play. I mean, we're just going to have to roll with Pesci for now until we get our man back. And then 4-man power play, we'll roll with Bavillier. Again, -1, unfortunate. So, I mean, the season isn't the best right now. Obviously, we can try and hope for a top pick, as it looks like the playoff picture is slowly slipping away from us. We have won a couple games here in a row, which is quite interesting, as we finally get that snapped by the not the Edmonton Oilers, the Ottawa Senators, as we continue on here. 2 wins in a row there, obviously still a little bit too far out. And we're going to go with conservative seller here at the trade deadline. And our trade deadline, I'm really excited to sort of take a look at this and sort of see what this little sim is like. And man, this is really cool. Definitely seeing all of these players. Max Domi, Vlasic, Ranta is up there for us. I'm kind of wondering why that's the case. I don't know why. Top 10 players available. Man, let's actually just take a look here and see sort of what we can possibly get. Who's been really underperforming? Obviously, we have Byfield there as our centerman, sort of coming up. Obviously, I mean, it's tough right now with who we could really try and even trade. I mean, Cirelli, let's see how he's been doing. Obviously, we want to try and keep Cirelli around. He's been playing pretty decently enough. D'Angelo, obviously, he's been playing pretty well as well. Stromsy, he's had a decent year, but nothing too crazy, honestly. Hoffman, his trade value is really plummeted, and I would maybe want to try and get something out of him and see if we could get anything out of him. See if we can get a lot of picks out of it or anything. Open trade. There are no trades found here for Hoffman, which, man, that really does suck. Fleury, man, goes to the Senators. Crazy to see that. Let's see if we could get maybe anything here for Hoffman, as his trade value is very low. And sort of the season isn't really going where we want it to be. I don't know if we should. I kind of want to see if we can get anything out of him just with that salary. Obviously, it is pretty crazy. I mean, it's going to be really tough to see here for left wingers. Like, what could we actually get out of him is the real question, which might not be a lot. Just looking at sort of the choices here, that trade value is really not in our favor whatsoever. and it's just going to be definitely pretty tough here to try and move him. Obviously, with that salary, we could possibly eventually pick up some free agents sort of moving forward. Dzingel, I mean, we could possibly go for him, but I'm pretty sure he is in the last year of his deal, and he is. But we could honestly try and re-sign him at 28 years of age. The trade value is not really sort of in our favor. Obviously, we'd be giving up $7 million, which would be a nice sort of drop of salary. See if we could probably get a pick out of this as well, even just like a 4th-round pick for next year. Hoffman for Dzingel. Anything. Trade is rejected. So let's maybe try and see if we can get a 6th-round pick out of it. Trade is accepted. So we got Dzingel. Obviously, we'll have to re-sign him sort of moving forward. But, I mean, we were able to get that salary out of here. Obviously, Hoffman is probably going to also drop in overall sort of in the next season, which sort of isn't what I'm looking for. But again, able to get him out of there. Obviously, we'll be able to put Dzingel up on that top line as he does fit the top line. I don't understand why Ranta is on here. Like, he's our goaltender. Why is Ranta on here? He does only have 1 year left sort of on his contract, which we might want to think about possibly trying to re-sign him for the future for sure. But let's go ahead and get out of here. Would you like to exit the trade deadline? Yes. No other moves we're going to want to make. Hopefully that doesn't mess with anything here moving forward. Obviously, Dzingel in, Hoffman out. Big salary dump. Getting Hoffman out of there, which is I'm perfectly fine with. Korpisalo to the Blue or to the Wild, to Foley to Buffalo. Man, they're really pushing. Harrington, don't really want him. And then obviously we are going to need to throw Dzingel in to the lineup to see obviously if we can get him in there. Obviously he's already on there, so he gets the +3 right now. Where's Volchenkov? I'd rather have Volchenkov on that top line right now, but we'll put him on the second line for now. Sorensen, we'll put him back down to the 4th, and sort of that's how the lineup is going to look right now. Who is actually scratched? Atkinson's injured still, and Saros. So, again, big injuries right there to the squad, so that's why I figured might as well try and sell them on, but definitely want to take a look here very quickly at our goaltender situation, which is going to be tough here. Obviously, we could let Ranta walk. We probably should have traded him, now thinking about it. And I mean, we still probably could, but Saros is injured, so we can't. And that's the issue. That is tough. What does he want? He only wants $4 million, which wouldn't be too bad. Obviously, we'll see if we can get him for 4.9 for 4 years. I feel like that wouldn't be too bad of a deal. Obviously, both goalies are going to want $4 million. That is a lot. So I don't know if I'm willing to want to do that. Sort of moving forward, maybe we stick with Saros. I don't know. But that is definitely going to be a big time hit if we can only sort of sign one of them. Obviously, Ranta re-signed, so that is nice. So we have a solid goaltender sort of moving forward. I actually do want to take a look here at some other contracts as well. We would need to re-sign Dzingel, who he doesn't want to re-sign. Kashe, I do want to re-sign, and he wants $4 million for 1 year. Man, let's see if he'll do 4.3 for 1 year. I feel like that is a lot of money going towards him, but again, it'd definitely be worth it. Armia, what does he want? He wants 2.42. I feel like we could try and get him for 2.25 for 2 years. I feel like that might be a nice snipe if we can. Maroon does want to re-sign, which is really nice. So we'll see if he'll take a discount at like 2.075. And Bevilier does not want to re-sign, and he wants $2 million, which is quite a lot of money. I feel like Roy definitely deserves that one. 4 for 3 years would be really nice. So obviously it is a little early to be sort of looking at sort of re-signing guys. What does Dzingel even want? He wants $4 million for a year, so a gap deal. So we would definitely have a lot of cap space to sort of work with moving forward into the future with this squad. So definitely want to continue on simming here. Obviously, we're not going to be finishing off this season in the playoffs, so it's definitely going to be tough. Kashe does sign, Roy signs, Armia signs, Maroon signs, so we get 4 of those players re-signed for next year, which is really nice. As sort of we're trying to fight back here to at least be 500 on the year to have a respectable sort of first season in the NHL, which I feel like that would be a great accomplishment. Obviously, the playoffs is always the goal, but so far things just aren't going our way. As we continue on with this sim, we do beat the Lightning, so we can just barely see the playoffs at the end of the tunnel, as we do get Cam Atkinson back, who I want to try and get him obviously back into the lineup, but I want to see where we could possibly maybe slide him in to the lineup. I don't want Kashe sort of on that bottom line. We'll stick Sammy Blaze back down there. Obviously that doesn't get a plus on that top line, but sort of that is obviously Bennett is a little lower in the overall than we want in the lineup, and we want Armia in there. Throw Armia and swap him around for comfort. Throw Shaw at center. So there is our updated lineup. Can we even throw... Oh, that's tough. I was trying to see if we could possibly throw Sammy Blaze up the lineup a little higher, but unable to do so. So at least we get Atkinson back into the lineup. I do want to take a look here at the draft to sort of see what the prospects are looking like, and sort of see if there's any more sort of scouting we really need to do. So let's take a look here at this draft class, see how our scouts have done. And it looks like we missed sort of the top 2 guys here, or some of the top 2 guys here with some scouting. But looking at it here, obviously we're going to need some more scouting to be done a little bit more. We do know a little bit here about some players. Obviously it's looking very sort of thin on the actual scouting, so I'll definitely be sort of getting that taken care of here, sort of moving forward. But let's just continue on here with the simulation as we are getting down to the end of the season, as sort of the last month is coming up. So could we possibly squeak into the playoffs? That is the real question. So we've won our last 3 games, which is interesting. Pesce out of the lineup, unfortunately. So as we make a run here for the playoffs, we do lose Pesce, one of our top defensemen, as we got to throw Roy into the lineup. Throw D'Angelo back on that top pair. Roy does get the +3 there on that second pair, so we'll roll with that. As we continue on here, another AHL injury, nothing to worry about there. Edmondson out, so we'll have to replace him with sort of the coach's sort of best decision. Obviously, Pesce back into the lineup really does save us right there, as we have Sorensen playing defense, and that is not what you want to see, since we don't really have any other players to really roll with. Pesce obviously back into the lineup, having a real defenseman in the back end is nice to see. Best lines for the AHL. As we continue on here, another victory, and I believe we are... Oh, D'Angelo's out. We'll have to replace him with sort of best player. Man, we're just going to miss out on the playoffs, it looks like here, guys. Just barely missing the playoffs. As D'Angelo able to come back into the lineup here at the end of the season, and now it's really going to just come down to the draft. Can we draft somebody big? Can we get some big players in free agency to have a good second season? As again, just going to be barely out of the playoffs here, as the team is just falling apart with injuries at the end, as it doesn't really matter, as all but is clinched Saros is going to be out. We're just going to have sort of the GM sort of move with the rosters, and that's going to be it for our first season, guys. We finish pretty low in the standings there, 84th. Obviously not where you want to be in the NHL. 38, 36, and 8. We do finish above 500. Second to last in the division. We do at least beat the Predators. Let's take a look here at the entire league and where we stand here in regards to sort of the the draft here for the picks, and sort of we're down there, so we do have a chance there to possibly move up. Obviously Cirelli, top points on the team, 59 in 79 games played. That's not what you want to see. Obviously Volchenkov, not too bad, 37 points in 82 games, not bad for his first season. He is up to an 80 overall, so that is nice to see, but again, not really what we wanted to see for our first season. Obviously not terrible, but not great. But that's going to be it for today's episode, guys. If you did enjoy this, be sure to drop a thumbs up on this video. Also, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. In the next episode, we will be getting into sort of the draft, free agency, and then sort of putting the team back together here for season number 2. So be sure to tune into that, and obviously be sure to drop comments down below with what you guys want to see moving forward. But again, that's going to be it. I hope you guys have a good one, and as always, stay dusty.